So about 50 years after the Great Migration ended, it's an increasing number of Black Americans are returning to the places where their ancestors left. Now, I say this time, they say they're not making an exodus to escape racism, but they are fleeing Democrat-led cities in the North to chase economic opportunity. Because a lot of places that we're seeing, like the West Coast, definitely the East Coast, in a lot of places, they're just too expensive. It doesn't make sense. And then we look at these Democrat-run cities, how Black people are being treated. Now, these Democrats are supposed to be our friends, right? We voted for them, heavy for all these years, and yet they do nothing about the race soldiers at all. Speaking about a place like Chicago, Black people are being pulled over more than any other group. And yet white people are actually more drivers on the road. So it's like the police are just beelining to Black people. Now, they said, despite the fact that many Black Americans still view the South as a hotbed of racist attitudes, Blacks have been moving to southern states in droves. It says nothing short of a great migration reversal. Let me tell you something. We've been dealing with racism for the past 500 years, okay? And one thing I respect about the South is somebody's going to be racist towards you. This is going to be just open and we can deal with that. But at the same time, in the South, Black people, we have the numbers. When our Black people are spread out through all this country and you look at it, they're not having any backup. And having backup is a good thing. Black people, for instance, in California, stay long enough to get your reparations. But if you get your reparations from California, y'all need to leave that place. Because California, it don't have enough Black folk. They have flooded everybody else over there but you. Now, LA especially used to be hella Black. But they have just ran Black people out of there through gentrification, all this situation with the illegal immigration, everything ran Black people out. Now, say starting at the earlier 20th century, they say Black people began the process of relocating to the North and the West. They say in search of better living and working conditions, they sought to escape the impact of racism that manifested in discriminatory Jim Crow policies designed to keep them in a situation. It said that was close to slavery, as white Southerners could not get without running afoul of the 13th Amendment. They say before the Great Migration, about 90% of Blacks reside in the South. By 1970, that number had decreased to 52%. They say according to the data of U.S. Census Bureau. They say a whopping 6 million Black Americans made the trip out of the South. They say what they're seeing now is a mirror image. They say Black Americans are returning to the areas of the country that their ancestors left. As a demographer, William Frey explained in his book, Diversity Explosion. They say most of those making the move are younger families. They say, and retirees seeking to take advantage of better economic opportunities and safer neighborhoods. To that end, they're heading to the South. They say with a deep dive into the U.S. Census, Frey found between 2015 and 2019, the cities that received the most Black people, they say, were Atlanta, Dallas, and Houston. Now, say Georgia has had a large influx over the past 3 decades, doubling from 1.8 million to 3.5 million between 1990 and 2019. So in the meantime, Black populations in northern and western states have seen a sharp decline. As the census also showed, the Chicago metropolitan area is losing 130,000 Black residents. Cities like Detroit, St. Louis, Cleveland, Milwaukee, LA, and New York City has had similar drops in their Black populations. Now, according to, the Washington Post conducted a series of interviews with Black Americans in Georgia, North Carolina, and Texas who have relocated from the North in recent decades. It said, like many of those who moved during the original Great Migration, it said the primary driver of their decision to leave home was economic. It said they moved south either with a new job already in hand or with the hope they could find work in some of the nation's fastest growing cities. Now, it said many of these Black families made a move to the South seeking affordable housing so they can amass the kind of generational wealth that their parents and grandparents were prevented from attaining due to redlining. Now, the Great Migration Reversal appears to be part of an overall paradigm shift in which Black families are fleeing blue states in favor of red states. So like Black Americans, the rest of the country relocating to seek economic opportunities and escape the rising costs of living in blue states. They say Americans, regardless of ethnicity and political affiliation, are increasingly choosing to live in conservative-leaning states. But for Black Americans in particular, this represents an interesting development given the racist history of the South, which caused many of us to move north in the first place. Now, some people would like to know, if the South has changed. I will say this much. Growing up in the South, all my life and still here now. I will say that it's not the same. I think, of course you got racism, just America, you're going to have it, but it's not the same how it was, I'm going to say even 20 years ago, 30 years ago. No, things have greatly changed. Demographics have greatly changed too between, about the past 20 and 30 years. So they say, moreover, black Americans who do view the South as more racist seem not to view this racism as a significant enough barrier to block them from achieving their economic objectives. It said the reverse great migration flies in the face of prevailing progressive narrative about black Americans being utterly helpless in the face of white supremacy and systemic racism. It said we are voting with our feet for better opportunities, and increasingly, it said that's in red states. Man, listen, black people, we're treated the same whether it's in a Republican state, Democrat state, but the problem we have with the Democrat cities and how we being treated is that they the one sit up here claim they're our friends. Oh, we need to, end systemic racism. Oh, we need to have equity and all these little catchwords that come out of some Democrat think tank. And at the real world application to all that mess is nothing good happens for black people. Nothing at all. So black people are looking at, hey, I need some cheaper rent. I need cheaper home prices, right? I would like to go places without a state tax, which, definitely Texas don't have a state tax. Like California has that big state tax. We don't have that. I want to go to a place where there's an ease of doing business. I want to go to certain places where I know we have a backup, and you know what I'm saying? In which place like Houston and Dallas, we do have backup. I do recommend Houston and Dallas more than anything else, because that's cities where, we have good population. But many people, like I say, if they go into Atlanta, wherever you would like to go. So I know some people going to Charlotte, North Carolina. I've heard that as well. So wherever you feel like you need to go to do better in America, do that. Don't be afraid to move, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be afraid to do that. I mean, if you find a better opportunity to do it, do that. I mean, because the one thing that we do as black people, we sit in our same city, our same state, all our life. We don't try nothing else. Listen, if it don't work out, you could always go back to where you come from. Always. It's not like you move into a different country. Even if you move into a different country and you don't like it after 12 months, you can always come and you behind back. I always tell people that no place is so permanent where you just can't come back if that's what you want to do. Me in my position, I'm a firm believer of have two addresses. Have an address here in the United States and then have an address overseas. Wherever that may be, if that's the Caribbean for you, because you still want to be close proximity to America, okay, you can do that. Some people may like Latin America. Like I say, I'm a big proponent of African countries. Wherever that may be, do that. We can't be afraid, because this is my thing. I don't want black people to live their whole life and don't even experience anything. We've been afraid to take a step in life. Sometime in life, you got to take steps, folks. You got to take steps to improve your life. And if you see, hey, it's not it no more in the North. It's not it anymore in the West. Yes, I like the weather. Listen, California has some of the most beautiful weather. Oh, my God, the weather is beautiful. But the living conditions, I do not want to be a part of that. All that, especially in Southern California, I would live nowhere near L.A. I would be living somewhere like maybe, anywhere in Orange County. I'll be in there. That's a Republican county. I'll be over there. I ain't be nowhere near L.A. County. Couldn't get me to go over there. Too much going on in L.A. County for me. All that gang mess is going on. Like I said, it's no. But California do have some great weather. I enjoy it. But you know what? Hot as it is in Houston. Oh, it is hot. Like I told my wife, what I would like to do next year is, hell, we get hot. Maybe we can go to South Africa, during the summer, because South Africa, that's when their winter time is going on. Like I said, that, different parts of the world you can be and don't even have to deal with the summer at all, because it's been getting hot and hotter and hotter. But you know what? I'd rather deal with the heat right here in Texas than be in some of these other states where you're getting hit over the head. You think about it, New York City, wanting people to pay, I was hearing somebody the other day, $1,800 for rent in the hood for a 1-bedroom efficiency. $1,800, really? And then decent places, $4,000 in New York City. Like, You can't afford that, black people. We know that. And that's ridiculous. That is so ridiculous when you can come down south and not pay anything like that. Now, I'm not saying the rents aren't prices down here, but come on, $4,000, you staying somewhere fly for $4,000. But the only thing I will warn y'all, please don't be like some of the California people, for instance, because you're going to find out real quick how that's going to bite you in the butt, especially those who came to Texas. Because some of you, it came from California, some of you, not all, and mostly the Mzungu. I don't think black people's been doing this. Maybe some of them have. If that house is $300,000, and you telling this seller, hey, I want the house, I pay $800,000. They gonna take your money, but when they get down to the time of appraising that house, it's not gonna be appraised at what you bought it for. It's gonna be appraised for what it's worth, and you're gonna experience property taxes here in Texas. So we don't have a state tax, but we got property tax. So that's where you're gonna have to see a lot of these people from California gonna be selling their homes at a loss, because overpaying doesn't make the home have any more value. You know what I'm saying? So you'll find out the hard way. But yeah, brothers and sisters, y'all keep on coming. You know, preferably the good brothers and sisters who have upward mobility, and it has nothing to do with how much money you're making to say you have upward mobility. Because hey, you know, you could be struggling in one city and come over here and, like say, a place like Houston and thrive. So, you know, Pookie and Ray Ray can stay in them cities. I don't want Pookie and Ray Ray here. No. Stay wherever you at. But the good, decent brothers and sisters, the families, the people that want to do good and try to progress the community, yeah, come on back home to the South. That's where you belong. But, you know, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the podcast. I greatly appreciate it. It's your first time coming. You know, make sure you click the subscribe button, click that like button as well, and we'll see you on the next one.